The British Empire stands as a colossus in the annals of human history. It was an empire so vast, so powerful, that it spanned continents and oceans. For centuries, the sun never set on the British flag. From the icy plains of Canada to the scorching heat of India, the British Empire left its mark. This essay delves into the epic saga of the British Empire, from its meteoric rise to its gradual decline. The empire's influence is undeniable. It shaped the world we live in today, leaving behind a legacy of language, law, and culture that continues to resonate. But this legacy is not without its shadows. The British Empire was also built on exploitation, conquest, and the subjugation of countless people. Understanding the British Empire is essential to understanding the modern world. Its story is a tapestry woven from threads of ambition, innovation, greed, and resistance. It is a tale of triumph and tragedy, of progress and oppression. This journey through the history of the British Empire will explore its key events, its impact on the world, and the factors that led to its eventual demise. The origins of the British Empire can be traced back to the Age of Exploration, a time when European powers set sail across the globe in search of new lands and riches. England, a small island nation with a growing appetite for power, was eager to join the race for colonies. Early expeditions to the Americas, driven by the promise of gold and glory, laid the groundwork for Britain's imperial ambitions. The establishment of Jamestown in 1607 marked the beginning of English settlement in North America. Meanwhile, across the Atlantic, British merchants were making inroads in India, establishing trading posts that would eventually become the foundation of a vast colonial empire. The formation of the East India Company in 1600 was a pivotal moment in the rise of the British Empire. Initially chartered as a trading company, the East India Company gradually amassed enormous power and influence. It raised its own armies, engaged in diplomacy with Indian rulers, and effectively became a state within a state. The East India Company's transformation from a commercial enterprise to a colonial powerhouse highlights a key aspect of the British Empire: its opportunistic and often ruthless pursuit of profit and power. Naval supremacy was the lifeblood of the British Empire. Control of the seas allowed Britain to project its power across the globe, securing trade routes, transporting troops, and blockading enemies. The Royal Navy became the envy of the world, its ships and sailors feared and respected in equal measure. The Industrial Revolution, which began in Britain in the 18th century, fueled the empire's expansion. British factories churned out goods that were in high demand around the world, while technological innovations, such as the steam engine, gave Britain an unprecedented edge in transportation and warfare. The phrase, "the sun never sets on the British Empire," perfectly encapsulates the vast geographical reach of British dominion. At its peak, the British Empire encompassed nearly a quarter of the Earth's landmass and ruled over a population of hundreds of millions. India, often referred to as the jewel in the crown of the British Empire, holds a unique and complex place in the empire's history. British rule in India, known as the British Raj, lasted for nearly 2 centuries and had a profound impact on both countries. Prior to British colonization, India was a land of immense wealth and cultural diversity. The Mughal Empire, which had ruled over much of India for centuries, was in decline, creating a power vacuum that the British were quick to exploit. The East India Company, through a combination of military might, political maneuvering, and economic manipulation, gradually extended its control over vast swaths of the Indian subcontinent. The Battle of Plassey in 1757, a decisive victory for the East India Company over the Nawab of Bengal and his French allies, is often seen as a turning point in the establishment of British dominance in India. The company's victory not only gave it control over Bengal, a wealthy and populous province, but also established its military superiority over its European rivals. Despite its outward appearance of strength and permanence, the British Empire, like all empires before it, was not immune to decline. The seeds of its eventual downfall were sown by a confluence of internal and external factors. The Napoleonic Wars, which raged across Europe in the early 19th century, initially strengthened Britain's global standing. The British Navy's victory at the Battle of Trafalgar in 1805 cemented its control of the seas and prevented a French invasion of Britain. However, the long years of warfare took a toll on the British economy, leading to social unrest and political reform at home. The rise of new powers, such as the United States, Germany, and Japan, challenged British hegemony in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. These emerging nations, driven by industrialization, nationalism, and imperial ambitions of their own, chipped away at Britain's economic and military dominance. Section 6. The World at War. The two world wars of the 20th century proved to be the death knell of the British Empire. The First World War, a conflict of unprecedented scale and brutality, shattered Europe's old order and left Britain deeply scarred. Although Britain emerged victorious, the war had drained its resources, decimated a generation of young men, and weakened its global prestige. The Second World War, even more destructive than its predecessor, dealt a fatal blow to the British Empire. Despite the heroic efforts of the British people, the war effort left Britain exhausted and financially drained. The empire, already weakened by internal contradictions and external pressures, could not withstand the forces of change unleashed by the war. The rise of nationalism and anti-colonial movements in Asia, Africa, and the Caribbean further hastened the empire's demise. Inspired by the ideals of self-determination and fueled by resentment against colonial rule, these movements demanded independence from European powers. Section 7. Echoes of Rome. The rise and fall of the British Empire bear striking similarities to the trajectory of the Roman Empire, another ancient superpower that once dominated the Mediterranean world. Both empires rose to prominence through military prowess, strategic alliances, and effective administration. They built roads, established legal systems, and spread their languages and cultures far beyond their original borders. However, both empires also succumbed to common pitfalls. Overexpansion stretched their resources thin, while economic problems, social unrest, and internal divisions weakened their ability to maintain control. The decline and fall of the Roman Empire serve as a cautionary tale about the cyclical nature of power and the inevitable decline of even the mightiest empires. By studying the parallels between these two great empires, we can gain a deeper understanding of the factors that contribute to the rise and fall of empires throughout history. And Section 8. A complex legacy. The legacy of the British Empire is a complex and contested one, marked by both achievements and atrocities. On the one hand, the British Empire left an indelible mark on the world, spreading its language, legal systems, and democratic ideals to its colonies. It abolished slavery in its territories, built infrastructure, and fostered economic development in some regions. On the other hand, the British Empire was built on exploitation, conquest, and the subjugation of millions of people. Its policies often led to economic inequality, cultural destruction, and political instability in its colonies. The legacy of colonialism continues to cast a long shadow on the world today, contributing to poverty, conflict, and inequality. It is essential to acknowledge both the positive and negative aspects of the British Empire's legacy in order to have a nuanced understanding of its impact on the world. Section 9. Shaping the World. The British Empire, though long gone, continues to shape the world we live in today. Its legacy is evident in the spread of the English language, which is now a global lingua franca, and in the legal systems of many countries, which are based on English common law. The empire's influence can also be seen in the political and economic structures of many former colonies, which continue to grapple with the challenges of post-colonial development. Understanding the history of the British Empire is essential to comprehending the complexities of the modern world. It sheds light on the roots of globalization, the legacies of colonialism, and the ongoing struggles for equality and justice in many parts of the world. By studying the past, we can gain valuable insights into the present and make more informed decisions about the future.